You're listening to the Multiverse Fancast, proud member of the Misfit Faction Media Network.
All right, then. On with the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Multiverse Fancast. Don't forget, if you guys are listening to us on the go, you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, basically anywhere you guys can get a podcast. You can also find more of our content on our website, themisfitfaction.com. There you find links to not only this show, but our other shows like MF Uncensored and Cinematic Adventures, as well as news, reviews, and our Misfit store. All sorts of cool stuff, so make sure you guys check that out. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Paul. With me in the studio today is Ronnie. Ronnie, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you?
A little out of breath. I went a little hard on that intro.
You did. You're supposed to breathe when you talk.
Oh, well, thank you for Voice Acting 101. I appreciate that.
Anytime. That's what I'm here for.
That's what you're here for. But we are here today. Today's episode is going to be a little bit more topical, a little bit more... Obviously, we mentioned last week during our Black Panther episode that Kevin Conroy, who voiced Batman for so many years and was just such an iconic voice actor and character actor, passed away recently. So in a little honor tribute to that, we decided to take a look at some of our favorite voice actors in superhero properties. It's not necessarily who is the best, who's better, who's worse, just the ones that we really enjoy and the ones that we really like. Words, hard. But we do have, unfortunately, more sad news as of today. Like, as this happened...
Yeah.
Jason David Frank has reportedly passed away. They're saying it might have been a car accident or self-inflicted. The news broke about 2 hours ago.
Yeah.
And, we were at breakfast.
Yeah.
So sad.
At breakfast, yep.
For those of you guys who don't know, Jason David Frank was the Green Power Ranger. He's been a staple and icon of the franchise ever since, like, its second season.
Yeah.
So we're really sad to hear.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You watched Power Rangers as a kid, right?
1,000%.
1,000%. Were you a Tommy guy?
Yeah, I would say Tommy. I feel like everyone's pretty much a Tommy guy.
I was a Jason guy. I'll say it.
Yeah?
I'll say it. I wasn't a Rocky guy. Not Rocky, though.
I was say yeah. Usually it's those two.
Yep. Jason beat him, just for the record.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, now it's sad. That's a little somber. But, I'm sad.
So
we're going to take a look at some of our favorite voice actors, like I mentioned. So, again, not in any particular order. We'll probably go for, do a couple and then take a break and then finish up our list that we definitely prepared in advance.
1,000%.
And we're not definitely Googling all these things right now.
Nope. My phone is down.
No, it's not.
Now it is.
Drops phone off the microphone. But so, Ronnie, why don't you... Well, first of all, let's start with what makes a superhero voice actor iconic? Like, for you anyway. Like, what sets the bar for superhero voice performance?
For me, well, it depends. If we're talking about for the superhero, being able to kind of have two different distinct voices needs to happen. Obviously, with your villains, you only need one voice for the most part.
Right.
But it's also something that encapsulates the character of the character.
Nailed it.
Right? And something memorable, which, there are two that are synonymous when you talk about voice actors for superheroes, which we'll go over a little bit later. I'm sure we're going to talk about that. But just something that just, like, brings back memories. Like, you can hear that voice somewhere else, and you're like, that's so-and-so from Batman, Superman, wherever it is. I think that's kind of what makes a great voice actor.
I agree. So for me, like, I think you mentioned it, but because I wasn't really listening to you. So,
no one does.
No one does. But I think having distinct vocal cues, like you watch Batman the Animated Series, Bruce Wayne sounded different than Batman, like that, and that was a thing. Like they should, right? It's part of putting on that persona. And I think that the best voice actors are able to differentiate between characters. Because a lot of times, especially in superhero animation, you don't always get the alter egos. It's more about the actual superhero.
Yeah.
Kind of like, we talked about it in our episode of The Batman with Robert Pattinson, that he's in that suit more than he's not. So he didn't have to really worry about, creating the dual personalities with that sort of thing. So for me, I think superhero voice performances can be really tricky, though.
Yeah.
And then they do become like pretty iconic. And, we'll talk a little bit about fans who fight for them and want them in all their properties and all that. So let's start off with, do you have one off the top of your head you want to bring up first?
Matt Ryan.
So here is a question that I did want to ask. Do you think that casting in an animated project, the live action equivalent, like the person who we know for the live action, is always the best idea?
I don't think so. For certain things it works. Also, I mean, if you look at some voice actors just in general, you know, like look at The Simpsons, where you have the voice act or actress of Bart. You know, like if you do a live action, it's Bart's a male. You can't have, you know, the voice actor portraying, you know, in a live action. So, you know, it depends on who is doing it and who the character is. And then some people don't do acting. They just do voice.
Right.
You know, a lot of times with comic book voice actors, you have a lot of actors that do it, so they could pull off the character. But I think sometimes it's good to separate the voice from the face.
I agree. But for Matt Ryan, who plays Constantine, he did the live action.
Yep.
Then the show got canceled. Then he did some animated stuff in that continuity. Then he got brought into the Arrowverse. And then he started doing more voice acting. He's reprised the role as... yeah, on Harley Quinn recently.
Yep.
And they mentioned John Constantine in Titans 2 weeks ago, which was awesome. And then in the Justice League War timeline with all that stuff, he played, you know, he reprised the role for Justice League Dark and all that stuff. So I dig Matt Ryan. You know, I'm a big fan. I have an autograph right above your head of me and him. No, the other way.
Oh.
But
Which head?
Which what? Oh, that no. Reminder to redecorate the studio at some point. But yes, Matt Ryan, solid first choice.
Yeah.
I'm going to do one that's like a weird one. All right.
Okay.
I'm going to go with James Avery, Uncle Phil, who played Shredder on the Ninja Turtles cartoon series. Man, when you think voice actors and like who they are, like there's nothing more fun than when you realize, oh my god, that's so and so who like voiced this character. Like it is always wild when something like that happens. And he played Shredder for a long time. And he did not sound like Uncle Phil, you know, the big burly Uncle Phil who talked very like, you know, monotone for the most of it. And then you go watch the TV show, he's like, I will have turtle soup for dinner, and you're like, oh my god. It's weird. It's hard.
Yeah. And what's cool, too, with him and a lot of other people is when they can change their voice and you don't know it's them. You know, like you said in his case. Because sometimes you do and you're like, oh, that's so-and-so, you know, being the voice actor for that person.
Right.
But when they're able to change their voice completely, like, then you know you got something special.
So I know I just did one, but I'm going to do one that I hate.
Okay.
So I know we're talking more about animated movies and TV shows, but sometimes actors will reprise a role for the video games.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man in the Spider-Man video games was atrocious.
Yeah.
Because he just talked like this for everything that he did.
Like he was reading.
I am very scared. I am very not scared. Like, to have him go through any sort of... Like, don't get me wrong, Spider-Man 2 is still one of the greatest Spider-Man / superhero games of all time, but oh my god. Tobey Maguire just... He's like, I'm here for my paycheck.
Yeah, he was basically just reading instead of acting.
Like every once in a while you get like a little flare up, but I don't know if that was his fault. I don't know if that was the director of the game or the voice, because obviously they wanted to get, you know, here's the tie-in, like it's a, you know, blah blah blah. Yeah. And it's still a fantastic game. But that was a terrible one. Yeah. There are some rough ones. We're trying to talk about the good ones, but there are some rough
just had to
ones.
put that out there.
Yeah. Especially Spider-Man. Spider-Man gets a lot of strange voice acting type things, which we'll talk about. But you want to do another one?
All right, I'll do another one, which we actually talked about off air. One of our favorite people ever, Jensen Ackles.
Jensen Ackles.
Red Hood.
Yeah, he was really good as a Red Hood.
I want to see him in live action. Now, that's one that like I want to see live action him.
I wanted him to be the CW versus Batman. Yeah. I really hope that for Superman and Lois, if that show continues, because it should, it's fantastic, that they bring in Jensen Ackles as Batman.
That would be cool. I think he'd be a great Batman or Red Hood, you know, like something like that. Like
I think at this point he's just a little too old to be Red Hood, like an actual live action. Yeah, because you know Red Hood, when he first pops back up, he's in his 20s. Yeah, like, and we love Jensen Ackles, but he is
not in his 20s.
He is not in his 20s. No. Plus, he's too busy with the boys.
Yeah, that is true.
Soldier Boy is still one of the best.
1000%.
But did you see him or hear him in the Long Halloween? I think it was. Yeah, he does a good job, and he's one of those actors that was also just so excited to be Batman. Yeah. But I will say his Red Hood was much better. Oh, yeah. Maybe it was the script. Maybe it was just, you know, a little bit more emotion to it. Because Batman's also not a very emotional character. He's not supposed to be. No. But, Yeah, well, we'll talk about that. Actually, scratch that. But like, so if you're playing Batman, you can play it at a certain like decibel for the entire thing, and it still works. It still works for Batman. But because even like Pattinson just talks as like one voice.
Yeah.
Like he yells every once in a while, but that's about it. But for me, I'm gonna do one of my favorites of all time, and that's Christopher Daniel Barnes as Spider-Man. Because that is my show. That is my favorite superhero show growing up. Like, I love Spider-Man. I think it was Fox Kids showed it or something like that. Yeah. But it was fantastic. And he nails it. For those of you guys who don't know, he also played Eric in The Little Mermaid, the original. He was only 16 at the time. And the producers didn't know it. And he also played Greg in the Brady Bunch movies. We did an episode on Cinematic Adventures about the Brady Bunch movies, about, like, the satire of them. And, you know, we talked about how great he was. But did you ever watch Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I watched more of the Spectacular.
Oh yeah,
Spider-Man
then,
Spider-Man also. But I watched little bits of how many other ones?
There's so many Spider-Man shows.
You had Amazing.
You're not gonna go through Spider-Man. There was Spider-Man, Spider-Man Unlimited, Ultimate Spider-Man. Like there's so many. You can't even like start going through these. But do you have one that you want to talk about really quick before we take a break?
What about? Let's go off the grid a little bit.
Oh, we're going off the grid.
Gilbert Gottfried.
What? That's who?
Mr.
Mixie. No, you gotta say it. You gotta say it.
Mr.
Mixiaspitalik. Mixiaspitalik. That's another one of those names that every time you watch like a different medium, they say it different. Yeah. Which is wild. Yeah. But yes, Gilbert Gottfried, solid choice.
Just because his voice is just iconic. Oh, you hear his voice and you know who it is immediately. Mm-hmm. You know. So you know what? Before we take a break, keeping with that theme, let's talk about. I want to talk about actually two more characters from that universe. Okay. You have George Newbern, who played Superman in. So he split up the role. I think he got the second half with Justice League and all that. Yeah. Not only does he deliver one of the best Superman monologues of all time, but he's also played the character in like Public Enemies and stuff like that. Yeah. But Michael Ironside as Darkseid. Yep. Wild. It's like he was fantastic. Yes. Darkseid's been portrayed a lot in animation and, you know, obviously in the Snyder Cut, but I still will say that Michael Ironside, when I think Darkseid, that's the voice that I hear in my head. Like, it's because it's wild. In Justice League and Justice League Unlimited and all that was where Darkseid was. We didn't see him much. Then they made an appearance on Smallville, but he didn't do a lot of talking. Yeah. He was more like an evil, ghosty type thing, which was weird. It's hard to do some of these characters in real life, let's be honest. But him and George Newbern in that last episode of Justice League where they monologue against each other, it is the Superman saying like he lives in a world made out of cardboard. Yeah. It's really good. But with that, we are going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more of our favorite superhero voice performances. But first, a quick break. Hey guys, it's Paul, and the Misfit Faction is looking for your help. We are trying to grow not only our network, but also grow our brands, and the best way to do that is if you guys are looking to start your very own podcast. Maybe you guys have been listening to us for a while. Maybe it's something you guys have always wanted to do, but you're not sure how to get started. If you go to podbean.com/misfitfaction, you guys will get a month of free podcasting set as a gift from us. So make sure if you guys are looking to start your own show, you reach out to us and go to podbean.com/misfitfaction. Also, maybe you guys have your own online business or service that you're always looking to grow, and advertising is a very big part of that. If you guys go to sponsorship.podbean.com/misfitfaction, you guys can get $100 worth of free advertising, again, as a thank you from us to you guys. That's sponsorship.podbean.com/misfitfaction. All right, we are back, and we are continuing our conversation of some of our favorite superhero voice performances of all time. So I think we just did Mr. Mixiaspitalik. Yep. I think. And Darkseid Superman. So what about, we got another one coming up? I got one.
You got one?
I feel like we've been very DC heavy.
Okay.
But to be fair, DC shows...
DC animation is typically the better choice.
So I'm going to go a little Marvel here.
Okay.
Stephen Blum.
Ooh,
for Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine and the X-Men.
Yes.
A show that I didn't really get behind at first because this was also during the Wolverine craze. Yeah. Where, like, you know, the movies were at their peak. Yep. Everybody was talking about it because it was almost like a spiritual successor to X-Men Evolution, which I really liked. Yep. But it's just because it was a similar animation team, I think, even did it. Mm-hmm. So it looked like a sequel, but it wasn't. So I wasn't really about it because I loved X-Men Evolution, even though it ends, like, beautifully. Yep. But yeah, Stephen Blum really, he's one of those voice actors that's been around for a long time, and he's just awesome.
He just encapsulates Logan and everything.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go back to DC because that's where we're at. And Tara Strong. And Tara Strong has played a ton of characters, most notably Raven. Yep. She was in the Powerpuff Girls, Batman the Animated Series. She played Harley Quinn at one point. Like, she's one of those voice actresses that have just been around forever, that she's so good at what she does. And I love hearing her stuff. Yeah. Like, whenever you see that she's going to be, like, in the cast, I'm always about it.
Oh, yeah.
What about you? Any Tara Strong? I always get her confused with the female actress Tara Strong.
Yeah.
And that was a very 90s reference for those of you guys who were paying attention.
No, not at all. We're not that old.
Oh, God.
Maybe.
What's our next uncensored?
I don't know.
More 90s nostalgia? But,
no. What are you talking about?
Yep.
You mean 2000s? Because we were just
born?
Barely being alive?
Born 45 minutes ago? What do you got?
All right. Let's see. What about, let's talk Alfred.
Alfred.
For a little bit. We had
Alfred.
Ephraim Zimbalist Jr.
Oh, my God. Were you practicing that one?
Maybe.
It was pretty good.
Why do you think I was stalling?
I know, right? Us here stalling while we're totally underprepared? Weird. You're silly.
But, yeah, so he did the voice for Alfred. Mm-hmm. So you got to show some love to your butlers every once in a while.
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
So
even like, I know Paul Bettany's now Vision, and we're not talking live action, but he did a great job voice acting Jarvis.
Oh, yeah.
But now let's actually do like a little grouping right now.
Okay.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse has some of the best voice acting for a superhero movie. And just talking about like the main characters, you got, who voiced Miles Morales in that? Oh my God, it's going to drive me crazy. But let's start. Actually, we're going to start with my favorite. Nicolas Cage is Spider-Man Noir. What? Yep. He was so much fun in that movie. Like, one of my favorite scenes when he's talking about when, like, he just like lets matches burn down to the tip of his fingers so he could feel something. But you had John Mulaney also in as Spider-Ham. That was, I think, one of his first voice acting roles, and he was just like, again, they nail it with all that stuff. Yeah. But and then the guy from what's it called? The guy from
Jake Johnson.
Jake Johnson. Yeah. I know you're
from New Girl.
Did you New Girl at all?
Love that show. Yeah. That's a guilty pleasure of mine.
And it was Shamik Moore. That's who played Miles. That was driving me crazy. But I love, especially Nicolas Cage. He's just really funny in that. Yeah. And just like, I would watch that movie. This is a pretty hardcore origin story. But I mean, that whole movie is just so good too. We're going to do an episode on Spider-Man Across Spider-Verse when the sequel is getting close. We'll do a retro review on that and then talk about it. Anything else? Anybody else? Who else you got?
Arleen Sorkin. Harley Quinn.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Of course. Iconic. Oh, yeah. Legendary.
And now you got Haley Cuoco.
Yeah. I haven't watched the HBO show, but I've heard very good things about it.
So I think, those two, from what I've heard with Haley Cuoco, but those two, I think, nail it perfect. Mm-hmm. The voice and the way they portray her.
Well, I think they had an advantage because Harley Quinn was created for animation. She didn't have, nobody knew she didn't exist. Yep. So they were able to make her and her voice kind of just their own, and then that's it's weird how that happens sometimes where a lot of times you get characters that become super popular. Like, apparently there's a new Puss in Boots movie.
What?
Apparently something came out for Puss in Boots, and I was like,
I knew there was a Puss in Boots movie.
Yeah, apparently something new came out for
ago.
It. Yeah. Huh. But unfortunately, sometimes you get like side characters that become super popular. Yeah. But then they overexposure. Minions are a perfect example. Or even Baby Groot to a point. Like, I don't think I even watched the Groot special.
No, I did.
Yeah, I know you did. It was there. It existed.
There. Yeah.
We had a time.
Exactly.
All right, continuing on. We have Nathan Fillion as the Green Lantern, Hal Jordan. He is one of those actors that they wanted him to do the live action. They wanted him to do animated. I love Nathan Fillion. I'm a huge fan of him. And he's one of those guys that I would love to just like sit down and chat with for a little while, talk about like Serenity. And I think they did the episode of Big Bang Theory where he's sitting in the deli and they're like, is that Nathan Fillion? And they harass him because that's just how it goes. Yeah. But yeah, you're a big Green Lantern fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's all you have to say.
You betcha.
That's all you got to say. You betcha.
Oh, you betcha.
You betcha. Yeah. But we also have one of my favorites is Clancy Brown as Lex Luthor.
Yes.
He nails it. Like, Lex Luthor needs this. Like, there have been a lot of really good Lex Luthor voice actors. Even Rainn Wilson did Lex Luthor at one point. Definitely a little bit more whiny that way, but I really do enjoy Clancy Brown. As just he's just got a cool voice.
Yeah.
Even in live action, when you see him, he kind of matches his voice, which is always fun.
Yeah.
Michael Ironside too. They match their voice.
Yeah.
But for me, like again, and we're going to talk about it, but Kevin Conroy did not match his voice.
No.
In a good way. In a very good way.
Yes.
Jeffrey Combs is the question. So we actually got to meet Jeffrey Combs. Like he's been in Frighteners, he was in the 4400, and the question is just a fun character, and he kills it in this one. But did you ever see Justice League and Justice League Unlimited and all that?
I didn't see Unlimited. I did see Justice League, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, anybody else that you want to jump in on really quick?
You know what? I think it's time just to mention.
Well, I do want to mention two others then, because I was just trying to be nice to you. Because you know me, I'm a terrible nerd. We have Jesse McCartney as Nightwing.
Yes, I completely forgot about him.
I know. We tend to, unfortunately, like Young Justice has kind of fallen out of the spotlight a little bit because, it got canceled and then it's got revitalized and now it's just kind of there.
Right.
It is like when they said Jesse McCartney was going to play Robin, we were like, why?
Yep. I completely forgot about all those people.
They do a very good job because between seasons 1 and 2, there's a 5-year jump, and he goes from Robin to Nightwing.
Yeah,
he sounds different. He does a very good job differentiating between Robin and Nightwing, and even Dick Grayson to a point. But they don't show a lot of like Dick Grayson just doing Dick Grayson stuff.
Yeah,
and then Josh Keaton as Spider-Man. One of the most popular Spider-Man actors. Like there was a whole big push that when they canceled Spectacular Spider-Man and they were going to do Spider-Man Unlimited, or not Unlimited, Ultimate Spider-Man, that they wanted him instead of Drake Bell. Yeah, apparently he also recorded an entire episode of Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes, where he played Spider-Man.
Yeah,
it was around the same time, and then they cast Drake Bell in the new show, and they redubbed the entire thing. With him, and he was, obviously he went on social media. He was like, "Oh, this sucks," and you could tell it was written for Josh Keaton and not for Drake Bell, just by the difference in how like tone and how they are. But yeah, Josh Keaton was so popular that they brought him back as like I think it's like Black Spider or something like that on Young Justice, and that's what clicked to me. All right, go ahead. I know you've been sitting here just wanting to talk about it. Who are you going to talk about first?
Mark Hamill.
You're talking about Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill, I think is other than Heath Ledger, because I think everyone can agree. When you think of Joker, you think of Heath Ledger. I think number 2, or if you want to say 1A, 1B, whatever, I'm not going to argue. I think you think Mark Hamill when you think the Joker. Just his laugh.
Oh my God, it's haunting.
Chills every time you hear it. And we've heard it numerous times from him. Shows, video games, everywhere. He's just... you just hear his voice, and even in like watching Star Wars, you're like, that's the voice of the Joker. Yeah, a little bit. Because he changes it a little bit from his actual voice, but you could still kind of hear it. And I think when you think comic book voice actors, he's the guy. He's the guy, as well as Conroy, obviously.
For me, Mark Hamill. Like, it took me years to realize that was Luke Skywalker doing the voice. Yeah. He did other things, like he did the Hobgoblin in Spider-Man, and he's done a ton of things. But the Joker is literally, like, it's like you said, iconic. Yeah. And I will say that my favorite Joker laugh, because, like, obviously he's laughed throughout the show. My absolute favorite is in the end of Batman Mask of the Phantasm, where the Phantasm has him, and the whole place is blowing up, and they went all out on the music in that, like the very dramatic choir music, like for all these scenes, and that music's blasting, and Joker's just looking around, and then he just starts laughing. Oh man, it is probably one of my favorite superhero animated scenes of all time, even maybe superhero scenes of all time. Yeah, they do a very good job with him, and he works so well with Kevin Conroy. He went on record more than once. He's like, if they ask me to do a Batman project, if Kevin Conroy's not in it, I'm not doing it. Yeah. And there's something to be said. You could see like videos of them behind the scenes. It's not like it is nowadays where they do like big specials and they're like, because I don't think I've ever actually seen a video of him laughing, like doing the Joker laugh. I've seen him doing like talking like the Joker, but and like his and obviously
the little,
when
like chuckle kind of thing. Yeah.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Yes. I know we're family friendly, but I'm saying he plays Cockknocker. Yep. But even in that, like, he does a great job. Like, he's like comes in like like all like, and then he asks, "Why did you get that name?" Well, it's a funny story. Like his whole tone changes, and I'm like, wow, he is really good. And I'm glad, because a lot of those actors find trouble. Like, you know, even like Carrie Fisher did a lot more voice work than live action. You know, arguably Harrison Ford was the most successful to come out of the Star Wars franchise. But Mark Hamill just, you know, the between the video games and the TV shows and just, man, it will be a bad day when we lose Mark Hamill. Yeah. It'll be a bad day. Yeah. But let's talk about the man, the myth, the legend, the guy that inspired this actual episode, The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight himself, Mr. Kevin Conroy. Yeah. Kevin Conroy has voiced Batman in so many different things that if I pulled up a list right now...
We'd be here for another 30 minutes talking about it.
Well, when was your first time or first interaction with him?
To be honest with you, growing up, I didn't watch too much of, you know, like animated stuff. Mm-hmm. So it was probably... a little bit. I would probably say I was like a teenager the first time I really watched any of like the Batman animated stuff. So, you know, just that's pretty much my only grasp of him was all the animated Batman shows. Mm-hmm. You know, he's one, just like with Mark Hamill, when you think of the character, that's either the first or second name that's going to pop into your head is Kevin Conroy.
All right. So this is how many times he's played Batman in just film.
Okay.
All right, so Mask of the Phantasm, Batman and Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero, Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, Batman Mystery of the Batwoman. Let's see. Batman Gotham Knight. Oh, that was a really good one, too. Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. That's one of my favorite movies. Superman, Batman, Apocalypse, Justice League Doom, which is another really good one. Let's see. Batman Assault on Arkham. Batman vs. Robin, he played Thomas Wayne. That's interesting. Huh. Batman the Killing Joke, which we hated the movie, but we loved him as Batman in that. Batman and Harley Quinn, Justice League versus the Fatal Five. Oof, jeez. Now I'm trying. Oh my God, this is gonna be
too
rough.
many.
Yeah. So, well, just on TV, a lot different. Yeah. Batman the Animated Series. We had the new Batman Adventures, Superman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, the Zeta Project, Justice League, Static Shock, Justice League Unlimited, the Batman, he played John Grayson, I remember that. Yeah. Batman the Brave and the Bold, he played Batman of Zur and R, and also the Phantom Stranger. Just like how Adam West played the Grey Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was another fun one. Justice League Action, Teen Titans Go, Scooby-Doo, and guess who? He played Batman. Let's see. Batwoman, that was Bruce Wayne, Earth 99. Yeah. So that wasn't a voice act thing. And that was it. That was his last appearance. Oh, jeez.
Wow.
Then video games. Oh, my God.
All of them?
I had to cough. Sorry. Excuse me. Batman Vengeance. I remember that one. Batman Rise of Sin Tzu. I remember that one, too. Batman Arkham Asylum. DC Universe Online. Batman Arkham City. Batman Arkham City Lockdown. Injustice Gods Among Us. Infinite Crisis. Batman Arkham Knight. Batman Arkham Underworld. Batman Arkham VR. Injustice 2. Lego DC Supervillains, and Multiverses. Huh. We didn't even talk about,
We didn't talk about any of the
Legos. Yeah, we had... all right, we're going to mention them really quick. We loved Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill as Superman and Green Lantern in that movie. It is probably one of the funniest things to have the two of them.
And Will Arnett.
That is one of the few times where they do the spin-off, and the spin-off is just as good, if not better. But, yeah, I mean, you can't even argue that when you think iconic characters or iconic voices... Kevin Conroy is usually the first one you think of.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite Kevin Conroy moment or monologue or dialogue or anything like that?
I don't think I have a favorite one from him. I think maybe some of his best work was, oh my God, why can't I think right now? The Phantasm.
Oh yeah.
I think to me, I think that might be one of his best works that he's done as Batman.
Well, just the scene where he's at like the grave and he's begging them to be okay with him giving up being Batman. Some powerful stuff. I would say my two favorite are obviously the most iconic is I Am Vengeance, I Am the Night, I Am Batman, from the show. He was under like Scarecrow's fear toxin and he was like trying to psych himself up basically. And it was a testament to just like, you know, Batman is a state of mind. Batman is a symbol. But I also love in Justice League Doom. So basically, the Legion of Doom gets all of Batman's plans to like kill all the superheroes, and he's on a comm with I think Superman's been shot. Like he's trying to talk to each Justice League member, and they're all like dying basically. Yeah. And Alfred's like he says to Alfred, get the bat plane ready. The Justice League's under attack. And he goes, by who? And he goes, by me. And it's really powerful and just hectic and all that stuff. But I definitely think that a superhero voice can make or break
Yes.
some of these films. And we're very lucky that for the most part, they do a very good job.
Yeah.
They aren't all home runs. Like some of them
Yeah.
are utterly forgettable. I didn't even mention we had from Michael Rosenbaum, who played Lex Luthor, does The Flash, and he did a bunch. Neil Patrick Harris voiced Spider-Man. He voiced Nightwing in Under the Red Hood, and I think he did The Flash in The New Frontier. So like some of these actors, they do a ton of times, and unfortunately, like even like big actors are like, oh, I totally forgot they were in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other characters, heroes that you want to talk about?
No, I think that's pretty much everything.
So I know what next week's Fan Feedback Friday is going to be. We're going to do that. We're going to skip Fan Feedback Friday, though, today. But if you guys want to, let us know who your favorite voice actor is. It's going to be Fan Feedback Friday this week, even though it's going to be Black Friday and everybody's going to be out shopping.
Yeah, right.
Because Thanksgiving's coming up. Oh, man, we talk about Batman on Thanksgiving.
Oh.
Just me and Alfred alone.
With the lobster humidor.
Yep. God, I don't even think that's really a thing.
No.
But anyway, so if you guys are looking to participate in some of our Fan Feedback Fridays or offer thoughts, feedback, anything like that, you can go to Facebook and type in the Multiverse Fancast. You'll find our page there. You can also find us on all social media, including, but not limited to, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and I mentioned Facebook already. And I panicked. So I did it again. And it's our show. So that's the way it is.
And Facebook.
And Facebook too. That's right. Yeah. Make sure you guys just type in the Misfit Faction or the Multiverse Fancast. Odds are you'll find some of our material there.
Or all of it.
Or all of it. I mean,
Who knows? Surprise us. Let us know.
Let us know what you find on us. You never know. But that is going to wrap us up today. It's going to be a short one for us. But as always, I'm Paul.
I'm Ronnie.
And we'll be back in a flash.
See ya.